What's up, everybody? Going to go through some props that I found that I liked. I was looking at these last night, ran into some issues today, so I didn't have a chance to look up all of the lines. I think these should all be at least decent parlay lines, and there should be some good straight bets in here, too. So here's some things that I like, though. One of the first ones I like is Nick Claxton for 6 or 7 rebounds. The chart that you're going to see down there is for what the model's been running on 5. It just does it for 5, 7, 10, and 13. So 5 is where it was hitting for the most probable, obviously. I liked him at 75% for most of the week, went up to 85%, dipped down to 73 because last game he only had 2 against Detroit. Detroit is obviously a good rebounding team. That was a blowout game. I don't expect the Lakers to have the rebounding side of it, but the blowout risk is still there. He does rebound better at home. He's averaging almost 2 more at home on the season, 8.5 at home, and he has good minutes. The blowout, like I said, is going to be the biggest issue. But when he gets full minutes, 6 to 8 is pretty consistent. He's hit 6 in 72% of the games this season. He has 8 plus in 48% of the games this season. So I like him here. I think LA provides a good matchup for him. The biggest risk I see in this one is definitely going to be if there is a blowout and he doesn't get the minutes, that's where he tends to not make it. I think you could take him up to 8 rebounds, and it's been pretty solid all season. All right, Bobby Portis for 3 pointers is should be a pretty good straight bet. Even at the 2 plus, I think he had really good odds. The reason I like this one so much is he has made 2 plus 3 pointers in 12 straight home games. This game is obviously a home. It's against a team that is missing players, that has been struggling defensively. The last home game he had where he did not get that was against Philadelphia on the 20th of November. So over 2 months, every home game he has made 2 or more. He's had many with 3. So I think 3 is a solid look. The model did have him between 67 and 77% all week long on 2 plus 3 pointers. So it does like him at the 71% on the season. That's including even the away games. He's been much better at home. So obviously, blowout risk in this game could be there. I don't see it with the injuries. Chicago's not playing Giddy. Kevin Herter was questionable. Jalen Smith was questionable. So I do think that all favors Milwaukee hanging around in this game. I do think with the injuries to Milwaukee, I think that favors Portis getting a few more 3-point shots, which is why he's been so good recently. So like I said, I think 2 plus is a very, very, very good pick on this just based on recent play. There's obviously risk involved with everything. So it could go bad, but just the trends looking like 2 is solid. 3 even has a good chance as long as he gets the opportunities. All right, next one is Shaden Sharp. He is playing late game tonight, Phoenix at Portland. Last time these two teams played was in Portland, and he scored 29 points. So he's been scoring a lot more recently, predicting him at about 30 minutes and about 20.5 points. I would expect him to be a little higher on the points just based on how he's been playing recently, based on the fact that Abdia is, I believe he's actually doubtful. I put questionable there, but I believe he is doubtful. And with him not playing, then that should provide some more ball opportunities for him. 18 to 20 seems like a low, good parlay friendly range. 23 was his over under last I looked. Still solid on that. Like I said, he had 6 points more in the last game. That was a while ago, but he's been very, very steady recently. He has 20 plus in 13 of his last 16 games. So I don't see a huge blowout risk in this. It's very possible if Phoenix is knocking down their threes. They seem to be more consistent at home. I could see this being a game where they're hitting threes, but I see it more as being a closer game. So I think he stays in. He's definitely the main piece. He's been knocking down a lot of threes recently. So if you don't think he can get there on the points, maybe you'll find a 2 or 3 line on the 3 pointers that you like. But I think he should be a very solid choice for tonight. All right. I also like Tyrese Maxey for assists. With Embiid out, maybe you want to switch this to 3 pointers, see if he can get 2 or 3 on that if there's a good line. but he's been really steady on his assists. He's hit 6 plus in 65% of the games. He's been 8 plus in 40% of the games. For 5 plus, the model liked him at 66 to 76% all week long, but it has been trending upward and growing. The last two games for Golden State, they gave up 11 assists to Cade Cunningham. They gave up 7 assists to Keontae George. And I see Tyrese Maxey being right there with him. He has enough players. VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, Andre Drummond could get some pick and rolls. I see he has plenty of opportunities to just hit that 6. It's a pretty basic floor for him. Model has him predicted at 6.5, so right around 7. Maybe you want to play right there in the middle at 7, but I definitely think he can get up to 8 tonight, just based on the recent games. Golden State has been giving up a lot of points. Curry's not playing tonight, so maybe they won't be pushed to go as hard, and they are on the second day of a back-to-back. Maybe tired legs or something can get to him too, but I do like his assist. I think that's my favorite play on him for today. 3-pointers I think will be there, but I think tired legs get to 3-pointers a little bit more than they do to assists sometimes. They should have some good ball movement even without Embiid, even with George being gone for a while. So I do like Maxey on his assists. All right, next one I like, which could be a little riskier. Jokic is back in the lineup. Detroit does suppress assists a little bit, but he had 10 last week when they played. He's had 9 and 12 in the 2 games with Jokic back. So he is still getting assists. The line has been growing. Has him at 71% to have 5 plus. Model predicts him at 6.7, so close to that 7 line. He's had 6 plus in 62% of the games recently, 8 plus in 42% of the games recently. So he does have strong minutes. Detroit does collapse on the ball, so he does get kick out opportunities. He just needs Hardaway, he needs Jokic, whoever's going to be out there actually shooting for him. Peyton Watson, he needs him to knock him down. Detroit plays good defense. They hold points down. Those are that and Jokic being back. Obviously, the 2 games have been good so far, but if Jokic starts passing the ball to him more and he gets the hot hand, his points might actually be the better one here, or maybe 3-pointers, or maybe just leave him off altogether. I don't know. But just recent play, even with Jokic being out of the lineup, I know that's a big factor. It just looked really good, and it looked like it's even gotten stronger with Jokic in the lineup, so that's why I put it in here. All right, same game, Azar Thompson. I had him last time. He had, in that Brooklyn game, he had 6 rebounds in the first half. In the last Denver game, he only had, I think, 4 rebounds, but he was in foul trouble most of the game. He doesn't get in foul trouble a lot of times. The blowout risk I see is very low in this game. I would imagine this game is going to stay very competitive, and he will be getting his minutes. So he's hit 5 plus in 74% of his games. He's hit 6 plus in 63% of the games. The model likes him at 6.5. He's predicted at 24 minutes, but like I said, his minutes are predicted a little lower right now because of some of the recent blowouts. He hasn't been playing as much in the fourth quarter. He did have that foul trouble game against Denver last time. He only played 20 minutes and he still had 4. So I still like him to get to 6 on this game. He's not typically over 6. He is the 5 or 6 range very, very consistently. So that's where I like him. Not sure exactly on the line. I know 6 was plus money last night. I think it is now on the minus side of the odds, but it shouldn't be too far under. So 5 would be a very good parlay line. 6 would be a decent straight line still, I think, depending on how far it's dropping. I don't know if I'd want to play him at 7. You can check it. You can look at his lines, but most of his games that I saw were right there, 5 and 6, but very, very consistent. All right, now I have a few 3-point players that I think would be a decent ladder tonight. Desmond Bane going to Oklahoma City. They play good defense, but they have been allowing a lot of 3-pointers, especially that Minnesota game. Things were getting out of hand for him. So if they can get Anthony Black to kick out to Bane, if Banchero can kick it out to Bane, whoever is inside, if they can find him open and get it to him, I see him knocking him down. He's very, very streaky, but he had a 7 3-pointer game recently. He's had multiple threes. He's had quite a few 4s throughout the season. So 20% of his games he's hit 4, 44% of his games he's hit 3, 71% of his games he's hit 2. Like I said, although Oklahoma City does have a good defense, the three-pointer is where they allow a little bit to leak out. Um, Players get inside, they collapse like a good defense does, and it leaves people open. Good ball movement. If they find him, I think this would be a very solid option. I think 2, he should get. Model has him at 2.3. It's predicting him at almost 35 minutes. So 2, I think, is a good floor. And if you want to start pushing it up, I do think this is a good ladder opportunity. All right, the next ladder I liked was Moses Moody. He's had very, very good averages recently, ever since Butler went out. Curry is not playing today, which should help his minutes. He is probable on the injury list. So that's something to watch. If he's too bad, I believe it was an ankle. Obviously, that could affect his shots, but I'm assuming he's been playing a little bit with that injury, and he's still been consistent. He's had 3+ in 8 of the last 10 and 4+ in 5 of those. So he normally shoots one better at home on average. And he is predicted by the model at 2.6, a lot like the others. He's had 2+ in 71% of his games, 3+ in 51%, 4+ in 31% of his games. So very steady throughout all of these numbers. And with Curry out, I do think he'll probably get a few more looks unless one of the other players gets hot early. But he's looked like the guy that has been most consistent on this team aside from Curry. With Curry out, I do like this. 2 should be a very good parlay odd. 3 should add some value. 4 should be very good value. So depending on what you want to do, if you want to parlay it or if you want to straight bet it, like I said, to me, I think this is a good ladder opportunity just to take straight bets all the way up and see how it happens. But the injury designation obviously does kind of throw things off a little bit, but with the fact he's probable, not questionable, I think he should be good to go. All right, very similar. I like Duncan Robinson. He's had 3+ in 6 of his last 8 games, and he had 2 in the last game. Didn't even play in the fourth quarter. Didn't play a lot of minutes anyway. So he gets to 2 even in blowouts a lot of times. He averages 1 better at home. He had 8 attempts in the game against Denver in Denver last week, but none of them were falling. He went 0 for 8. So there is risk there. I just don't think that's going to be what happens tonight. I think that was an off night, and I think he gets back to it today. He does have 2.5 predicted from the model. He's predicted at 25 minutes. I think the minutes are predicted lower because of the blowouts that they've had recently. So I would expect him to be closer to 28, maybe 30. He doesn't typically get a huge amount of minutes, but I would expect him, if this game stays close, they're going to need him, especially at the end, to try to knock down some of these threes. He's had 2+ in 73% of his games, 3+ in 49% of his games, and 4+ in just over a quarter in 26% of his games. The models liked him 63% or better all week long to hit 2. Most of those days have been over 70%. So it's been pretty consistent aside from the day 3, which I ran this yesterday, like I said. So the day 1 would have been yesterday's games. So in the 6 days that it has, the only day it dipped down was the second day. It dipped down to that 63%. All the others were right there around 71, 72, 73%. I like him to hit the 2 very, very, very much. I think those should be decent odds. And 3 and 4, I think, are very much in play. He showed he can get the attempts against Denver. They just didn't drop, but they drop a lot better for him at home. One thing to also worry about too, Cade Cunningham has been very hot recently. He's been scoring a lot more. He's been getting his assists, but he's been very opportunistic about the assists. He hasn't been trying to force anything. He's been taking his shots. So the risk, like I said, if he's not if he's targeted defensively and he's not getting the minutes, if the backups, if some of the bench players have been playing really strong and they've been getting a lot of minutes, that could affect it too. But I think he has a real solid option, especially for the 3. 4, you may not want to go to. He hasn't been getting there a whole lot, but he definitely has the potential. Okay, here's my last ladder. The reason I put this last is he does have higher lines. I had started it at 2. but there was no value there. So I bumped it to 3, 4, and 5. He does have 3 plus in 53%, 4 plus in 32% of his games. The model predicted him at about 73% or better to hit 2 plus all week long. Last 4 games, he has 2 3-pointers or 2 3-pointer games and 2 5 3-pointer games. So 3 plus in all 4 of the last in all 4 of his last games. Definitely possible, just not as much value on this, and seems to be a lot more risk just to get to 4 and 5. Obviously, he is a better shooter when he gets them, the opportunities he gets there. But he's had a lot of 2s, he's had some 1s, so definitely not anything that is a lock. There are no locks. I will say that time and time again. And just threw it on there as an option. I think I like the other ones better. I think you'll get more value out of them, and you don't have to get as many 3s out of it. But these are some of my favorite props. Let me know in the comments which ones you like, which ones you don't. Let me know if there's anything else you would like me to do for this sort of stuff. Like I said, I'm trying to get all this figured out in a way that I can streamline more information faster, and leave out information where you don't care about it. So good luck today. Make sure you do your own studying, do your own research, pick the ones that you like, pick the lines that you like, and good luck.